the Seattle Storm and the Mariners season come to an end. Welcome back to another episode of the Seattle Sports Show, where we love Seattle pro sports. I'm your host, Mikey, and today we're here to talk about the end of the Seattle Mariners season, the end of the Seattle Storm season, and we will preview Monday Night Football, Seattle Seahawks versus the Detroit Lions as well, and some not so good news about that. All right, been a little while since I was able to record. Ended up getting COVID, so I was real sick there for a little bit, and then other than that, just real busy with work. So not having the time I was hoping I would have to record, but here I am, able to record now. So let's talk about the end of some seasons. All right, not sure who I want to talk about first. Technically the Seattle Storm's season ended first, so let's talk about the Seattle Storm. They went out with a whimper, right? I mean, ever since the Olympic Games break, ever since they came back, they just did not look right. Something wasn't clicking, and by the time playoffs came, that hurt them. They just couldn't fully click. Jewel Lloyd, this was her coldest season ever in her career. And if the star of your team is, not going to be hitting their shots, then it's not going to really work out for you too well. And that was the case. I mean, we put up a good fight against the, reigning, defending, two-time, back-to-back champions. But it just couldn't finish. And again, you could feel that we weren't finishing, just because the chemistry wasn't there. And I don't know, that's something they're going to have to work on next season. And hopefully being together another year will help. Now, we'll see how different this team looks next season, though. NECA is a free agent. Gabby Williams, free agent. We got some big decisions that have to be made, and who they're gonna bring back, who can they afford to bring back, and all that, right? But I did watch the postseason press conference, and I at least love what I heard out of them. Before we get into that, we will congratulate Nneka Ogwumike for becoming second team WNBA All Defensive Team, and Ezi Magbor making WNBA All Defense First Team. So congratulations to them. They put in the hard work. Defense was like the strong point of this team all season long, no matter how cold they would get shooting the ball. This team never lacked for defense at all. Okay, but let's use that to talk about the postseason press conference here. And it was brought up by the coach herself. Noelle Quinn mentioned that, hey, this team, they rocked on defense, but there was a lot left to be desired, on the offensive side of things. And there was, again, a lot of these players are first time playing together, and just the chemistry not fully being there. But I loved what I heard out of the coach with her saying it doesn't matter though, but they have to get it together because there's only so much time. That time is limited, and you can't just waste, having a good roster together when you have a good roster together because you don't know how long that's going to last. And again, I loved hearing that out of the coach and from the players throughout this press conference, them with a sense of urgency of, hey, we have a good team together now and it might not last, and we're all going to keep getting older. Because remember, this roster, it's not a young roster either. Lloyd, NECA, Skyler, they're all players in their 30s who are coming together and built this super team, right? And then there are some young players in the foundation behind them, but the core of your super team is they're veterans in this league. They've been around for a while, so you like to hear that urgency, that they feel like, hey, yeah, we did good. We made the playoffs. It was a big improvement for our team to go from 11 wins to 25 wins and, get a 5th seed in the playoffs. That's a big turnaround in a single season. But that's not good enough. That's not where this team wants to get to. That's not where this team wants to go. And you hear it from, again, all the players throughout this press conference that it sounds like most of them are hoping that they are able to come back together next season. Again, a lot of these players are going to have some interesting choices to make because they have to decide if staying here is going to be best for them, or Seattle can't pay them all the max, right? So are some of them going to end up going elsewhere because they're going to get better paid, or they're just going to be given a bigger role on another team? We don't know. We'll see, but it sounds like they're hoping that as many of them as they can will come back and run this back together. Again, we'll see what happens, but I just absolutely love the idea that they all want to do that and that they all have the sense of urgency that they can't just rest on the fact that they're all star players, that they all have to give it their all, that everybody needs to be bought in, that everybody needs to do their part to help this team win a championship. And again, you heard that from Coach Quinn, you heard that from Skyler, you heard that from NECA, you heard that from Jewel, you heard that from Skyler. Even players coming off the bench like Joyner and Jordan, Nika, they all felt that, right? They all felt like, hey, this team has potential for more, and and that they should have gotten more done this season, and that they're sorry that they didn't, and that there was no excuses, right? Of like, and nobody went up there and said, hey, you're welcome, for turning this team around in a single season. Be thankful that we did that for you, So I want to thank the Storm for putting on an entertaining season this season, and of course turning things around in such a short span, right? In a single season, going from a lottery pick to getting the 5th seed in the playoffs. And then I have to thank them for the desire for more and the hunger for more and the um, the what it seems like is going to be a real effort this off season to you know not just bring back what you had but also improve and get better for next season and hopefully go farther next season. So again, thank you for that, but we'll use that to transition to the Mariners, who have, as of this recording, they just finished today. Well, they didn't just finish, but today they finished playing their last game of this season. They go 85-77 for this season, right? So they missed the playoffs. They missed the wild card by a single game. They were already out a couple of days ago. Mathematically, so we knew they weren't going to win. At least they end the season on a 4-game winning streak, I guess. Cal Raleigh, congratulations to him hitting what was it, the 35th home run of the season and getting, what was it, 90 something home runs in the first 4 seasons of his career, the most home runs by a catcher in the first 4 seasons of the career now. I mean, we all know how great Cal Raleigh has been. He's been so clutch in so many situations. He's, we thank Cal Raleigh for, ending the drought of playoffs. He's the one that hit the home run that got us into the playoffs. So, great stuff from Cal Raleigh. But again, I'm going to compare this Seattle Storm, the end of this season, to the end of last season, and we'll see what the Mariners do this season. But it's a big difference, right? I mean, the Mariners end of the season last season and what we can typically expect out of the Mariners in their press conferences is that I'm not going to be surprised if, even though they came out here and missed the playoffs, and you have to remember how big of a disappointment this season was. This might be one of the most disappointing Mariners seasons ever. It wasn't just us who felt good about the Mariners. A lot of national media was picking the Mariners to make the playoffs. A lot of them had the Mariners making it to the World Series this season because of how good the pitching was. And they end up not even getting into the wild card. And I'm afraid the Mariners are going to go out there just like they do every postseason. Ownership is going to send Jerry Dipoto and Justin Hollander out there to say all the improvements that they made from last season. Look how great it is that Cal Raleigh is has the most home runs in the first 4 seasons of any catcher ever in their career. That Julio finally started catching on fire at the end of the season, even though it was too late. Hey, we finished above 500 and we were only 1 game back. I can just imagine that is what this postseason is going to go like. We can all remember 54% from last year and us, how we should be thankful as fans that that's what they're going for. In fact, a mark that they didn't even reach this season. A mark, if they would have reached, they would have been in the playoffs. But yeah, the Mariners and that organization, it's just crap, right? I mean, again, I'm using the women's basketball team, comparing it to that. You didn't see ownership go out there and say this is good enough. You're welcome for more than doubling the amount of wins from last season. You're welcome for going out and signing these stars, even though it didn't end up where we wanted. No, you went out there and you heard every single player and coach on that team say, yeah, we improved, but it's not good enough. We wasted a year because we didn't get to where we wanted to get to, and your time is limited as an athlete on how good you're going to be. That's that's amazing to hear. As a fan, you go, oh, okay, they get it. They want it. They want to improve. They're not just okay with, hey, record attendance fans are showing up and spending money in the stadium. The way the Mariners seem to be, they're just like, hey, well, the fans are showing up, and no, we don't need to increase our payroll. Whatever, we don't need to go out and make any big moves in free agency or big splash trades, because we can just sit here and, aim for 54% and hope that's good enough. They're gonna come out here and they're gonna tell you about all the positives that they had this season. At least that's what I expect. I really hope that's not the case. I hope that this organization can come out and do what the Storm organization did and say, hey, we want to get there. Expectations were that we would get there, and we didn't. So this was a failure. And these are the ideas that we have to get better and to get there. Again, out of the Mariners organization, that is not what I expect. In fact, I expect the exact opposite, which is going to be horrible to listen to, of them just go on about all the good things they did this season and not take any accountability for how this season actually went horribly wrong, right? Again, not even making the wild card, not getting into the playoffs for a team that, again, not just like a local homer radio and writers, journalists saying that this team was going to be good. No, your team is getting national media attention before the season started, because this team was looking like a team that should be in the playoffs. But not just that, but a lot of people thought would be making a push to get to the World Series for the first time ever for this organization. And at the end of the day, you didn't even come close, because you didn't even get into the wild card. Which, again, this team with the pitching that they have, just getting into the playoffs in any way whatsoever would have been giving you a chance, because this pitching staff would have went up against anybody and given them a run for their money. So just, again, super disappointing, and I am not looking forward to hearing this press conference. I can't imagine this ownership group letting anybody in this organization, when it comes down to your GMs, your staff, your players, I can't imagine them letting any of them go up in front of the media and say, oh, sorry, this sucked and we sucked and this wasn't good enough and we're going to try to be better next season. That's just not how this organization is run with this ownership group. It's going to be, oh, well, let us just, tell you about all the good things we did, even though we didn't end up where we wanted to be. And let us give you hints that maybe we're going to be allowed to spend more money this season, only for, when the free agency period opens, to find out that, in fact, no, we're not gonna spend anymore. And you're gonna have to watch this. You're gonna have to watch Jerry DiPoto and Justin Hollander try to figure out how to manipulate things and juggle things to just stay where you are, and hope that's good enough, and that the players can have better years statistically, because a lot of the players on this team had like their lowest ever, and you just hope that they do better statistically next year, and that's good enough to get you farther. I'm not expecting anything from this team this offseason. at this point, you can't. But that's the Mariners. Let's move on from them because their season's over. They didn't get where they needed to get to, and it's going to be interesting to see what they do this offseason to make any sort of improvement to try to get to where we expect this team should get with this pitching staff. A pitching staff, I guess we do have some, news about that. That Jared Dipoto saying that it would be Plan Z for them to trade any of this pitching staff to get better. If that's the case, I hope that means ownership is going to let them spend more money so that they can actually go get some players who are going to perform. I mean, we're set up with a pretty decent roster right now, right? But there's still, with your outfield, with Robles, Rodriguez, Rosarena, all coming back, that's good. But what about your infield? What about the rest of your lineup hitting the ball? Anyways, let's move on because I need to quickly hit the Monday Night Football preview before I got to end this thing and get to bed so I can go exhaust myself at work tomorrow. All right, so let's talk about it. Seattle Seahawks versus Detroit Lions. This is gonna be fun. It's just a matchup that we've had a lot lately, and it always ends up being a lot of fun. But I mean, especially if you're a Seahawks fan, because we have won the majority of the time, right? But this Lions team, they have been improving every year, so it's going to be tougher, especially given the injury report that was already put out the other day. So you knew, okay, they didn't even have to wait till last minute to find out about these players. A couple days ago, they already knew Boye Mafe was going to be out. Byron Murphy II out. Uchenna Nwosu still out. We thought maybe he was going to be able to come back this week. He put pads on and was at practice this week. Nope, he's still out. Leonard Williams out. And Jerome Baker is questionable. This is not good. Four of your defensive front, the big parts of it, are out. We already knew Uchenna Nwosu has been out for a while, so you've been living without him and doing okay. But on top of him being out, now Mafe, Williams, and Murphy are out too. That is going to be a lot to deal with. Okay, I know we're undefeated, but that run defense still has not looked perfect. And now you're telling me we're keeping Nwosu out while also taking out Leonard Williams, while also taking out Byron Murphy, and now also taking out Boye Mafe? No, man, this is going to be tough. I mean, the Lions, they got that two-headed running attack. And are we going to be able to slow that down with half of your defensive front out? I don't know. It's going to be a tall ask for the rest of the roster there. That's going to have to be filling in. Our secondary, I think we're still going to do good against, a really talented Detroit Lions receiving core. And, hopefully Mike McDonald's, the way he is so aggressive with disguising what he's doing and where coverage is coming from, or what coverage they're in, and what where the pass rush is coming from. Hopefully that's going to be enough to confuse the Lions offensive line as well as Jared Goff. and hopefully we can get some turnovers, give ourselves some short fields, and um, you know, get ourselves some easy points. Because, uh, yeah, I don't see us beating the Lions without some turnovers. Because again, our defensive line and linebackers so beat up. Our offensive line, same thing, and we're going against, you know, Aiden Hutchinson. That's going to be really tough. But again, like I've said in previous years on this show, they can be over aggressive. And thankfully for us, as you noticed on this injury report, Kenneth Walker III is not on there. So he should be making a return in this game. And we could have our own two-headed monster. And somebody like Kenneth Walker III is great for, against somebody who likes to over pursue. He is the type of player that can really punish that sort of aggressive play style. So glad that he's coming back. I hope he gets used a lot in this game. I'm hoping, the fact that he's off the injury list and coming back in this game means that he's 100% ready to go, and we can see the K9 that we're used to seeing, and that should give us a big boost against this team. Nothing against Zach Charbonnet and what he can do, but I think this team needs both of these running backs. I don't see K9 as the every down player. I don't see Zach as the every down player. And to me, that's why a couple years ago when we drafted Zach Charbonnet, I thought it was a great pick because it gave us really good running back depth at any point, and that you could use both of them, and they have. And I think this staff will, and hopefully take advantage of it in this game, because the secondary for the Lions, they haven't played exceptional to this point. They have a young secondary and they're prone to mistakes. So if we can get the run game going, both in bouncing it outside, going for big gains, pounding it inside, maybe you start getting some of that secondary again looking in the backfield a little too long. We hit them with the play action pass, and we can have that extra quarter second for DK to just blow by people, for JSN to create that separation, for Tyler Lockett to create that separation, and do what both of those players do. I think this is. I think that's the recipe for beating this Lions team, is getting this run game going, and making them have to, respect and think about the run game, and that will help us take advantage of this young secondary. I think we can get that done. I think this will be tough. I mean, we are on the road on a Monday night game against the Lions, but I think we could still get this win and still be undefeated. We could be 4-0. It's just going to take that type of effort, where the offensive line is going to have to step up, and all the rest of the depth of our defensive line, it is really being tested in this game. So everybody there's got to step up as well. But again, with the way that this coaching staff on defense and offense, the way they're doing things, I think they're going to put their players in the best position, and I think they're really going to they're gonna throw the Lions for a loop on both sides of the ball. Um, and show them a lot of things that haven't been shown from this team yet, both offensively and defensively. I think there's been, I don't think the offense or defense has fully opened the playbook yet. But again, with so many injuries here and with the unique matchups that we have, I think this is a game where we really start to see playbook open up and test what we have. And I see us coming away with the win at the end of it. I mean, again, Mike McDonald, he's done well himself against these type of teams in the past. I think his defense can slow down the Lions offense. And Ryan Grubb, I mean, he just really knows how to call the offense. And I believe in his play calling, and I believe in the players on the offensive side of the ball, with all your playmakers. So I think we get it done. I think it's not going to be like as high scoring as some of the other games have been, where they're like the points get up into the 30s and 40s. But I think we'll win this game. I'm going to say 24-20. That's my prediction. Overall, we'll win the game, whatever the score is. I think we win, but I'll just say 24-24. The prediction score. That's that's the kind of game I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a close game. There you go. Got to a few things. Like I said, it's been a little bit since I've been able to record an episode, but a lot has gone on since I last recorded. Again, a bummer that the Storm and the Mariners ended the season the way they ended their seasons. At least one, I'm hopeful for the future. The other one is kind of a wait and see. But with everything that's been going on in the Seattle sports world, let me know how you're feeling. How do you feel about the Storm's end? How do you feel about the Mariners end? And are you hopeful for the future for those teams at all? And if you're hearing this before the Monday night game, give me your prediction for the Seahawks versus the Lions. All right. This has been the Seattle Sports Show, where we love Seattle pro sports. Until next time, peace out.